Life-saving rule number 1. Work with a valid work permit. Some of the work permits you'll see used are the unit work permit, hot work permit, regulated and non-regulated confined space entry permit, and the opening and blinding permit. Another type of permit we use quite frequently at the Wells Group is a fluid transfer form. Fluid transfer forms are designed to ensure all hoses and fittings are properly connected, equipment is in good working condition, and that tank and truck numbers are verified in order to eliminate spills. It's important to remember, a permit alone does not make the job safe. Before a work permit can be issued, the following requirements should be met. Employees involved in the permitting process are properly trained and competent. Scope of work is understood for specific work location. Any change in scope is followed by stopping the job and reassessing. Simultaneous operations and other work crews in the area have been notified of the work to be completed. All known hazards are identified and mitigated. Changing conditions have been considered. Responsible parties have validated mitigations and permit requirements prior to starting work. All signatures for work permits have been obtained. All aspects of the permit and risk assessment have been communicated to all persons involved, and atmospheric testing has been performed and evaluated to ensure safe working conditions. Life-saving rule number 5. Verify isolation before work begins. Isolation and the use of specific additional PPE provide barriers from numerous different hazards. Before work that is dependent on isolation from these hazards is conducted, these minimum requirements must be met. A designated competent person has authorized and assessed the isolation scheme and the procedure for restoring the stored energy or hazardous material. Employees performing isolation work are competent and authorized to do so. Any authorized permits or documents have been made available and are communicated to affected personnel at the job site. All isolation points are clearly identified with approved devices and lockout/tagout documents. Isolation locks and keys are strictly controlled. A designated competent person and the responsible persons have verified that all physical isolations and locks are in place, and changes in conditions or work scope outside the specified permits and documents requires revalidation and re-verification of isolation procedures and work. One task that we perform in the Wells Group that requires a vehicle isolation is personnel tie-offs with our boom truck. We start by attaching a self-retracting lifeline, or a SRL, to the hook of the crane. A tagline is then attached to the hook of the SRL, and the SRL is flown into position with the crane. The next step is to pull the SRL down to a level in which it can be attached to the harness of the employee that will be tied off. In this case, the SRL is attached to the well house before it's attached to the employee. Before attaching it to the employee, we make sure that the crane is isolated so that the controls cannot be operated while they are tied off. In order to isolate the controls, we shut off the PTO and the crane function in the truck cab. When they are disengaged, we test the crane to verify that no hydraulic functions are able to be utilized. When we have verified, the SRL is safe to be used as a personnel tie-off. On behalf of the Alpine Wells Group, we hope you enjoyed our presentation and have a safe and productive work week.